Hello friends, I wanted to make a short video sharing with you some thoughts I have on the weather, which as you can see behind me, maybe, or you can hear, it's raining. Yet again, as it's been raining a lot in the past month, and we might see that happening more so over the next few years at least. And what I mean by that is just, changes in the earth, weird things happening. We've been seeing fires, just abnormal sort of weather events, flooding, things like that. So without going into a place of fear, let's not do that, right? I took some time to tap in the Akashic Records today and just connecting in with the earth today as well. And what I picked up on in my connections with Mother Earth, with Gaia, and in the Akashic Records is that the earth is shifting its poles, that the earth's poles are shifting. And what that means is the earth is part of the earth moving into 5D, into fifth dimensional consciousness, into a higher frequency, a higher state of being. And as what we are doing as humans, as many of you hear me talk about a lot in my videos, are also being asked to move into 5D. But because we have free will, we don't necessarily have to do this. It's a choice. So some people are not ready to do this, or they're not willing to do that, and that's their choice. However, so what I was picking up on in the earth is this immense power from deep within the core of the earth, this great power building, this energy building. And what the image was kind of like somebody when they're, twisting and tossing and turning in bed, twisting around. And that was the energy. It's like a tossing and turning sort of, trying to, writhe out of something sort of energy, which we can see, the seismic activity of the volcanoes, which is really the lifeblood of the earth, the lava of the earth, we're seeing more volcanic eruptions. That's sort of that energy that coming from the earth that is being pushed out. So this has happened, of course, in many cycles throughout time. The fall of Atlantis, when there was a flooding, and then there was the time of the earth's poles shifting. But as has been predicted for thousands of years, with the Mayan calendar shifting, the end of the Mayan calendar, which people kind of thought, this is the beginning of the end of times, and the second coming of Christ and the apocalypse, that I don't believe is accurate as to what's really happening, because it's a good thing. We're moving into this 5D new earth, but we've got to go through these shifts, and the earth is undergoing her own shifts as well. So what do we do in the meantime? Because we are going to be seeing, as a result of these changing weather patterns, some changes, unfortunately, some losses of life. I'm talking about animals specifically, also potentially human. And when we can reframe what does that actually mean? What is that? We think that death is always bad. And of course, no one would want death for anybody. But it also means it's a shifting to another state. It's from moving from our human bodies into the spirit realm. So that's a separate topic for another time. But what we can do to move out of fear, because I even experienced that myself. Well, what does this mean? What's going to happen? Am I going to be living in a floodplain? I don't live on the ocean, but you can see here we have, there's runoff from a mountain. Well, not mountain. It's a mountain way up there, but the runoff comes down a hill into our yard. So we're always dealing with water, kind of stream running through our yard. But luckily we have a dehumidifier and, different things to kind of help, pumps and stuff that help keep our house safe. So without going into fear about any of this, which a lot of us are probably thinking about, what I was shown was to just roll with the earth's changes, to just connect with the earth and to honor the earth and respect her. And yes, we can. With all this rain, is there some weather modification by the ones who think they control things happening? Some cloud seeding, which we know they do. The governments have admitted, have said that they do this. They've used it in the Vietnam War. They use it in different, to control wildfires. They'll go up and seed the clouds There's a lot more I could say about that, but I asked in the Akashic Records if that was happening. Yes, is what I picked up on, that they are doing that. But what they really wanted me to know, what the masters, the Council of Elders in the Akashic Records really wanted me to know, is to not give them any more power than they need to have. They don't have more power than the earth. That they can't. They can't control everything. They can try to do some cloud seeding, weather modification here and there, but ultimately it's the earth, the magnitude, the power within the earth that's causing these poles shifting, the energy that the earth is experiencing, who knows where it's coming from really, is so much more powerful than anything any human or group of humans can do. So they want us to remember that. And in the meantime, we can visualize sun coming and warmth, or if you're in a place where there is no rain, visualize rain. Here where I'm in Maine, in the Northeast United States, we want more sun in the summer. My crops, my garden is interesting things. There's some things that are growing and other things that are kind of stagnant. They're not getting taller. The tomato plants are not getting taller because they need more sun to grow. So I'm going to start to host some meditations where we're visualizing the sun and visualizing the warmth, and imagining that light from the sun is also activating each one of our heart centers and bringing out that sense of peace and healing and compassion for each other and for the earth, working in tandem with the earth instead of trying to make the earth, make her do what we want her to do. We're learning from her, and we're allowing her to kind of go through her experience and her process, like shedding all the layers of, it's kind of like, I think George Carlin, the comedian, said once that the earth is shaking off humans like a dog shakes off fleas, which could be a way of looking at this. And in a sense, if we think of it that way, then, what humans have done to the earth for at least hundreds of years, or the last 100 years, is pretty atrocious. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. Chances are it's, larger, companies that have no respect for the earth, that are only about profit, that are really, and governments that have been responsible for a lot of what some call climate change. But it's not just because of that, it's also the poles shifting. So there's a multitude of factors causing this weather. But what we can do is, with our hearts, with our intentions, with our visualizations, using our free will, because this is how we move into 5D. It's a co-creation. It's not just going to happen and I can sit back and just watch it. We want, again, there's multiple timelines, right? One timeline is more likely to happen based on the energy that we're putting into it. We want, obviously, the positive timeline to unfold, and at this point that's likely to happen, but we can ensure that happens by connecting with our hearts, by focusing on the best possible outcome, which is healing of the earth, healing of humans, connection and unity, consciousness based in unconditional love for ourselves and for others and for all that is, and really focusing on that. Really important not to go to a place of fear and anger, because that brings in a lower timeline. And some places may actually see that are in fear and anger. They may see what seems like an apocalyptic reality, because that is where their intention is. So anything that creates fear, it's not an excuse to ignore, to pretend something's not happening, but it's kind of like everything is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. This one thing can be true at the same time as that it's not true, or two things can be true at once. We know that there is something going on that we are that we don't want. That we don't want the massive loss of life among humans or animals. And one thing, the way we can prevent that from happening, and what we can do in the positive, is helping the earth thrive and humans thrive, is to focus on that outcome. And there's lots of beautiful multidimensional beings. Pleiadians were coming in to be really strongly. That's my, roots are in the Pleiades, and those are my teachers. They were showing me how to do that, and that's where this kind of vision came from, which I'm sharing with you now. I hope this is of service in some way. Much love and many blessings.